surrounded by wrestling fans. Not sports entertainment fans. Professional wrestling fans! Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up! This is
the Wrestling Matters Podcast, a podcast that stands up for professional wrestling. Why? Because wrestling matters. So join the revolution, because the revolution is now. Hey, start the show.
World, look into my eyes. When you see me on a show, when you see these fans, you know you've got the best in the damn world. We are ICW and you're gonna know our name. Here we fucking go!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another installment of the Wrestling Matters Podcast, ICW podcast, that is. My name is Anthony Walker, the HD today. This is the third episode in the ICW podcast series that I'm doing, and 2 weeks ago I talked about Baromania. Last week I talked about the Nottingham show, which was the princesses in another castle, and today I'm going to talk about Boom Shakalaka. That's right, Boom Shakalaka, which took place in Liverpool, England, as part of the entertainment tour, or the entertainment system tour. ICW show, great show. Kicked off this week. I said kicked off this week. I'm still used to doing my other shows. Kicked off with Dickie Davids coming out to address the ICW mafia in Liverpool, and punks a member of the audience out and tells him to jog on, and then calls out Chris Renfrew. And all three men of the NEK come out to surround Divers. But then Divers comes out and says that he knew that all three of them would come out, so he brought two people of his own, and that was the Bucky Boys. And it ended up being the Bucky Boys and Dickie Divers versus the New Age Clique, which was BT Gunn, Chris Renfrew, and Wolfgang. Fight breaks out to start off. Advantage BT Gunn till Stevie kicks him in the gut. Renfrew flattens Davey Boy, and I mean flattens Davey Boy with a clothesline. Divers in control till Wolfgang slows him down, now double teamed by the NEK. Bucky double team BT, the Bucky Boys. Slingshot cutter by BT on a member of the Bucky Boys, gets into a fall. Cutter counter for counter, BT then takes a spear from Davey Boy. Wolfgang is able after powerbomb to lock a Boston Crab or Cloverleaf move, then takes a kick to the face. Second rope DDT from Divers, then stunner from Renfrew, then a roundhouse kick from Stevie Boy. Stevie Boy goes to dive on the NEK, but blood is spat in his face, and then Wolfgang rolls him up for the win. After the match, the NEK triple team Dickie Divers, hit the killer boots, and the final statement on Dickie is made. Now, you can see what happens with that particular move itself and that particular clip. You can see that on the ICW online as well, because apparently they injured him and bust his nose open. So if you want to see that, check that out. Right. Supposed to be a tag team title match, but Mark Coffey says he will defend the tag team championships alone and goes one-on-one with Sha Samuels. So for the first time ever, to my knowledge, in professional wrestling, not just in WWE and ICW, but in professional wrestling in general, Mark Coffey defends the ICW tag team titles in a singles match against Sha Samuels, which, like I said, it's the first time for me. This is a very, very first for me. I don't remember or recall seeing this ever happening, but it was a good match between Coffey and Sha Samuels. Coffey taking the fight to Sha to start off. Coffey hits two slams, polo slams, on Sha, in control, hits a back elbow. Sha is outside. Kid fight distracts. Sha hits Mark with the belt. Numbers game with the 55. Kid Fight getting involved. Shah grounding Mark fights back. Shah hits his pedigree move, goes outside. Mark goes outside, that is. Very smart to do that. Back suplex, crossbody gets a near fall. Side suplex, Kid Fight puts the foot on the ropes to stop the pin. Side suplex was from Mark Coffey. Death Wish hits it again, and Coffey gets the win. And the Polo promotion team of Mark Coffey and Jackie Polo are still the World Tag Team Champions, despite Jackie's injury. And the 55 after the match come in and beat down till the Iron Man, Joe Coffey, and Mark's brother comes to save him from the beatdown. They chase away, they shake hands and collaborate and that and whatever, and show respect to one another. And as the show continued, it was time for Joe Coffey to go one-on-one with Lewis Garvin. Now, Joe Coffey goes one-on-one with Lewis Garvin. Some people say that this guy's the new Drew Galloway. Great chain wrestling to start off. Lewis gets the advantage, grounding Joe, slowing him down. Power advantage definitely with Joe Coffey. Hits a shoulder block, near fall. Again, power advantage with Joe catching Lewis in midair. Beautiful bulldog from Joe gets a near fall. Mistake allows Lewis to slow Joe down, grounding him on the mat using the chin lock and grinding the chin back and everything like a rear chin lock and snap chin lock, whatever, all the stuff you do in that situation. Counter wrestling, Joe takes a drop kick and Lewis gets a near fall. Lewis in total control, slowing down the big Iron Man monster and the Iron Man of ICW. Butterfly swing into an airplane spin. Joe was that dizzy he rolls up the referee and Lewis countered the fall. One of them things that takes too many dizziness into it, which was hilarious. Garvin gets a near fall after Joe realising where he was. Hard hitting fight in the middle of the ring, leading a Joe Coffey clothesline, and boy can he hit a clothesline, just like Mark. Nobody hits them better. Joe mounting a fight back. Joe hits a drop kick, gets a near fall. Giant swing on Lewis, catapults him into the corner. Joe runs into a kick from Lewis, hits a double stomp from the top and gets a near fall. Double stomp when Joe's like bending over, standing up, not on the floor. Deadlift German gets a near fall for Joe. Near fall after near fall after near fall in this match. These two were so even. It was a great wrestling match between the two. And Lewis misses stomp and Joe hits one clothesline, did not work, and then hits the discus clothesline and gets the victory of a very capable Lewis Garvin. What's next for Joe Coffey? Will he get a title shot, or will he ever end this feud with him and Red Lightning? Because there's still some heat there from going back to the Safe Pro Wrestling movement. So will this ever work? We'll have to wait and see. Now, I'm going to go on to the Zero G Championship. There were 6 matches overall in this show, guys. It was a 2-hour show. 6 matches overall. Again, you can only see this on ICW on demand. And I'm going to go to the Zero G Championship match, which saw Kenny Williams defend the championship against Danny Hope. Feeling out process, Danny hitting a beautiful arm drag. Kenny hits his heel kick, spinning heel kick, and then mocks Danny. Matching move for move, Kenny rolls Danny and gets a near fall. Kenny dropkick dive, then goes for another dive but misses and hits the guardrail. Boy, did he ever hit the guardrail. Danny in control of Kenny. Bit of an even match between the two. Kenny hits running dropkick near fall and hits the dive that he missed earlier. Champion in control of what was a great match between the two. Kenny hits a knee, rocks Danny, but Hope does his Hulk Hogan impersonation. Danny hits boot, Kenny goes for clothesline, Danny ducks and then Danny hits the power slam, Randy Orton style, and gets a near fall. Super kick from Danny, and then Kenny hits his clothesline where he bounces off the ropes. He goes into that second rope movement and just goes, and then just hits that strong lariat. Kenny goes for the quack buster, Danny counters, Kenny goes for the sunset flip, but as he went for the sunset flip, Danny grabs out of the legs, leans forward and gets the 1-2-3 and becomes the new Zero G champion. Now, and they shake hands in a matter of respect after the match. Garvin says a promo and says he was cheated out of the match. His loss, still very bitter, still couldn't take the fact that he lost to the better man, that was Joe Coffey, just like he lost to Kenny Williams and that, and he says he's not going to take it anymore. And Danny Hope is backstage celebrating and issues a challenge to anyone in London who wants to come to London to fight in for the Zero G title. and he's willing to put that on the line. And yeah, so I'm gonna. With that being said, guys, I'm gonna take a little quick commercial break, get my breath back, and then after that, I will talk about the rest of the show, which was Mikey Whiplash versus Noam Dar, and the big main event, which saw Grado and Drew Galloway go in a tag team match 2-on-2 with Jack Jester and the ECW hardcore icon and legend Sabu. So I'll be back right after this. Time out. For new episodes of the Wrestling Matters podcast, as well as other great professional wrestling related content, be sure to check out the Wrestling Matters channel on YouTube at www.youtube.com/AJW Wrestling Matters. You'll get weekly episodes of the podcast, and you'll get other great wrestling content as well. Be sure to check it out, subscribe, like, and do all that good stuff. The Wrestling Matters channel, where wrestling matters on YouTube. If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out the Wrestling Matters podcast Facebook fan page at www.facebook.com/WM podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shugs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
If you're a fan of the Wrestling Matters podcast, be sure to check out the Wrestling Matters podcast Twitter page at WM Podcast for news, reviews, and upcoming episodes, and you will be let know on various other topics as well in the world of professional wrestling. So if you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, be sure to follow the Wrestling Matters podcast on Twitter at WM Podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans.
Let's talk about what's best for business. Best for business. What makes a professional wrestler? How tall they are, how they look, their body, their in-ring work, their talking ability on the microphone, charisma. Yes, all these things make a marketable character, and that's what you need to be a real superstar. Once upon a time, before whatever happened, Vince McMahon, the ruthless man in the world, named me the chosen one for a reason. Trust me, I'm bringing those attributes here. When used right, what's best for business? When I'm used to my best of my ability, I am the fucking business.
Indeed he is the fucking business. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 2 of this Wrestling Matters podcast, ICW series podcast, that is, review on Boom Shakalaka, and that was a promo that was, well, a line from a promo that was cut by Drew Galloway at the first Shugs Hoose party, which you can also see on ICW On Demand for $3.75 a month. ICW On Demand, the place where ICW matters. There, I threw that one out. Now, back to part 2 of my little review that I'm in the middle of doing, and now I'm going to talk about the last 2 matches, which were Mikey Whiplash and Noam Dar. We're going to start off with this one. The one next was the main event between Drew Galloway Grado versus Jack Jester and Sabu. But we'll get to Mikey Whiplash versus Noam Dar. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, was a wrestling clinic. This is, in my opinion, this was one of many reasons why you should get ICW On Demand. Great hold-for-hold wrestling to start off the match between the two. They wanted a handshake. Well, Noam Dar wanted a handshake. Mikey kicked his hand away. Noam working on the arm of Mikey, stretching him on the mat. And then Mikey says, the hell with it, we'll shake hands. Wrestling clinic so far, near fall after near fall. A back and forth fight in the center of the ring till Mikey lands a clothesline and gets a near fall. 3 running uppercuts by Mikey gets him a near fall. Mikey's showing a little bit of frustration in this match at this point. Maybe he was frustrated that he couldn't put Noam Dar away, because there was a point in the match where he was shouting, "Stay down, Noam, stay down." Dar hits 2 running drop kicks, but Whiplash hits a brainbuster when Noam was going to go for the suplex after the 2 drop kicks. Whiplash switched it into a brain buster and gets a near fall. Near fall after near fall, and then Noam Dar manages to hit a knee bar, leg lock, whatever you want to call it, on Mikey, and Mikey ends up escaping. Mikey hits a powerbomb move and gets a near fall. Mikey ties Noam Dar in the ropes, goes out to get a sharp weapon, one of them little stand things that you use to keep the guardrail up, or to, keep the guardrail in shape. And he was going to bring it in to use it on Noam Dar, but Noam Dar managed to convince him not to use it. Noam works on the legs of Mikey, and that was the story of the match from Noah's point of view, and hits it again, and Whiplash hits the Zombie Maker and gets the victory. Now, after the match, lights out, and BT Gunn sneak attacks Mikey with a chair, hits chops and kicks really beat down Mikey. BT then hits a facebuster, an F5 like facebuster, and makes a statement, but he wasn't finished. BT brings a guardrail, sets it up, and drives Mikey Whiplash through the guardrail. Statement well and truly made. Will this feud ever end? And where's it going to end? And when's it going to start? And when we're going to have these matches between the two? An interesting dichotomy where this is going, if that made sense. If that made a little sense. Drew Galloway versus Grado was the main event of this match, and they teamed up to get against Jack Jester and Sabu. Now, Drew and Jack start off. Hey, if you guys haven't heard it, I think it was a Beatles song, Hey Jude. Then it was like, na 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 na, Hey Jude. Nah. Well, they did the chant in Liverpool, and they did it for Drew Galloway. It was like, na 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 na, Hey Drew. This is great. Drew loved it, of course. Jack seems to be playing mind games until the fist fight breaks out between Drew and Jack. Loads of right hands. He ends up kicking Drew Galloway in the face, doing his running kick, gets him on the floor, starts pounding him down, and then tags in Grado, and they double team Jester. Jester then eventually tags in Sabu, and Grado turns around and almost scares himself out of his boots, and Sabu, Grado fight. Before they did, Sabu was trying to teach Grado his signature point to the sky move that he does. If you've all seen Sabu, the little point to the sky thing he does at the beginning. And then it got to a point where Grado just stood on his toes, and then starts using his jab, and then as he was about to go for the flip-flop, it was like a flip-flop fly Dusty Rhodes move. As he was about to go for that, he turned around and Sabu just picks the chair up that he got from Jester and just shuts it right in his face. Classic Sabu. Double team on Grado by the team of Jester and Sabu, and Jack Jester's in control. A cactus clothesline by Grado, and Grado and Jester end up on the outside. He hits a rolling slice from the apron onto Jester, then takes a chair shot from Sabu, and then Drew Galloway comes over and kicks Sabu in the face. All four are on the outside fighting. Drew and Jester in the crowd. They even fight near the bar, right on the bar rather, and using the bar weapons, the bar equipment that they had there. Sabu and Grado fight on the stage. Sabu back in the ring with Grado. Drew smashes a can over Jester at the bar in the ring. Sabu uses classic offense till Grado goes to do the same thing like Sabu. Use classic offense using the chair to his advantage, but Sabu, when Grado wasn't looking, moved the chair around, and Grado paid for it. Sabu gets a near fall. Drew gets tagged in the fight back on. Drew really working on Jester. Jester goes for his move but is suplexed into the corner by Drew. Drew hits a flying drop kick near fall. Drew kicks the crap out of Jester in the corner. Grado tagged in, hits rolling slice and gets a near fall thanks to Sabu. Save. Grado hits the wee boot, gets a near fall on Sabu. Sabu gets a table, hits Grado with a chair. Sabu hits Arabian facebuster, driving Grado through the table and gets a near fall. Drew and Sabu fight on the outside. Jester hits a power slam move, gets a near fall. Grado's out at 2, and then Jester hits his tombstone. I think it's plea to the dungeon, and gets the victory for his team of him and Sabu. Drew then comes in the ring with a chair, and then as Jester's on the outside, gesturing to the crowd, Drew just goes over the ropes and just whacks Jester with it on the head. And then Drew goes out and he kneels down next to Jester, and they look face to face at one another. And while that was in the ring, Grado and Sabu were showing respect for one another, and it went off the air with Sabu and Jester up in the ring, showing respect and doing their signature moves as the show ended. Great show. I loved it. 5 out of 5. And 9 out of 10 if I'm scoring out of 10. If I'm scoring out of 5, it's 5 out of 5. 9 out of 10 for me. And yeah, it was a great show, and it's one of many reasons, ladies and gentlemen, why you should get ICW on demand if you haven't got it. £3.75 a month, equivalent of $6 in the US. You've got to get it, guys. You're missing. It's the best wrestling in Britain. It's the best wrestling in Europe, and you be hell entertain. It's just great. It really is. I am an ICW fan, and at the moment right now I'm proud to be one. That's why I'm doing these podcasts, because ICW's got me hooked, man, for real. ICW is where it's at. Just one quick promotion before I go, guys. Title Wrestling is coming to Darlington's Dolphin Horse Market Centre. Well, that's a mouthful. I believe that's right. If it's not, I apologise. But they're coming to Darlington nonetheless. May 15th for Point Break 2015. Tickets are £13 advance, £40 for a family. Get yourself there. Doors open at 7:30. Kick-off, well, bell time is 7:45. Get yourself there for a Good Friday night. I unfortunately will not be there because I am working that night. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been the ICW podcast series, brought to you by the Wrestling Matters podcast and me, the H Daddy to the A to the D. And until next time, guys, be sure to check out the newest episode of the Wrestling Matters podcast, episode 57. That is already up. Check out the previous episodes as well of this, episode 1 and episode 2, Barrymania and the Nottingham Show. And until next time, guys, my name is the H Daddy to the A to the D. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Peace.